All right, 1972 versus 2025. Well, why would I do this? Well, the reason I'm doing this is because I have been in the markets for 51 years officially because I became a trader on the CBOE in 1974. And I started studying the markets because back in 1970, I became a partner in a chain of men's pants stores. I was 20 years old, and then I became a member and a partner in these pants stores. We had five stores totally back then, and I ran them. I was the buyer. I was very involved in the stores, and my partner was older than me, and he was an investor and he loved the stock market. So I was in an environment where I was selling pants, but I was learning about the stock market all at once. So it was really the beginning of a great experience for me. And in that time, 1970 to 1972, there was a pretty good bull market. There was a bear market that ended in 1970, and then 1972 brought the Nifty 50. That's when the market was roaring to the upside. The nature of Xerox and Polaroid and IBM and all of those stocks that were in the Nifty 50 that got driven up to very high valuations. We have a question actually I didn't answer from Ray on there, Ray, that was about my thoughts on AI and the real potential. Well, this is the answer to that. And any of you that are, or many of you are asking the same question. And I think that what I'm going to discuss here may help you figure that out as we look at some comparisons from 1972 to what's going on today in 2025. So let's take a look, and I prepared some slides that are going to help me with that discussion. So back in the 1970s, the Nifty 50, they were promoted as one decision stocks, buy and never sell, basically, because they were considered to be invincible companies. IBM, Coca-Cola, Johnson and Johnson, of course, it was Polaroid, Xerox, tons of them that could do nothing but ever go up because these were the stocks that you had to own. Well, let's make these comparisons. AI today, the 2020s, framed as a foundational shift akin to electricity or the internet, with companies like NVIDIA and Microsoft and Palantir positioned as long-term infrastructure plays. So you can see there's a comparison there. Nifty 50, you never sell them, long-term, and the same thing is the perception today. Valuation extremes. Well, the Nifty 50, many traded at PE ratios above 50. Polaroid reached a PE of 90 times. That's 90 times earnings before earnings collapsed. AI today, well, listen to this comparison. Polaroid 90 times earnings, many of them at 50 times earnings. NVIDIA is trading at 30 times forward sales. It's mind-boggling. Palantir, 118 times forward sales. These are extremes in valuation that are well beyond that of the Nifty 50 as we look back 53 years ago. Institutional behavior, the Nifty 50, well, pension funds and mutual funds, they concentrated heavily on these names, often ignoring valuation. Sound familiar? Well, today, hedge funds, sovereign wealth funds, retail investors are all crowding into AI megacaps and the thematic ETFs, everything that's involved in AI. Remember, all those ETFs are all linked to these stock prices. So if the day ever comes, anybody wants to sell a stock, well, the ETFs are going to get sold because they're all hooked up together. The macro backdrop back then for the Nifty 50 was a bit different. There was, stagflation going on and oil shocks. OPEC was putting the squeeze on us, and interest rates were rising based on the inflationary scenario. Today, well, the economy is operating at a relatively high rate, and that's post-pandemic because the government shoved so much money and pushed interest rates down so far into the economy, and that brought a very speculative condition, which we're seeing, of course, when we look at cryptocurrencies and things like that. There's a very geopolitically fragmented environment that we have with tariffs and the problems going on with so many countries regarding trade. and the president flying around the world trying to zip up some of these problems. And there are basically still fiscal tailwinds for the tech investment. So we're seeing that as all of this circular investing is going on, each of these companies investing in each other and then creating this sense of higher and higher earning potential and higher revenues. Well, I mean, and these companies are all signing up with each other essentially. There's about 12 or 13 of them that are constantly doing things together, and the stock market always takes that as bullish because they gives them a way to keep feeding these valuations that are going on. It's about innovation versus execution for the Nifty 50. I mean, companies were innovative, but they were slow to adapt, and the macro shifts that were going on were really affecting a lot of these companies. So, Kodak and digital photography, I mean, they were fighting against each other, and then of course Kodak got wrecked by that. It's the old buggy whip story. And a lot of those companies really found themselves collapsing based on the macro shifts that were going on. Today, there's very rapid innovation. Many firms lack clear paths to sustainable revenue and whether they have defensible moats or not. And monetization is a mystery for many of these companies. We don't really know how well that they're going to be able to do as far as monetizing. We know Nvidia is going to sell a lot of chips, but when it's trading at 30 times sales, well, how many chips do they have to sell for how many years in order to make sense out of that valuation? Remember, it's become the first $5 trillion company. If it follows the path of the Nifty 50 and they get commoditized, which is going to happen at some point, well, it could be a $3 trillion company again, easily. So the question is, how defensible is that with all of these companies shooting at them with other chips that can come, especially the chips that can come out of China? The concentration risk in the Nifty 50 represented about 50% of the S&P 500. So that was 50 stocks representing about half of the S&P 500 at the peak. Today, AI, the top 7 stocks, these stocks right over here, Nvidia, Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, Meta, Alphabet, Tesla, they account for over 50% of all of the gains that we have seen in the market in the recent year. And year to date, they account for just these 7 stocks over 35% of the value of the index. You go to the next 3 stocks, the top 10 stocks are 40% of the value of the index. This is value concentration and earnings concentration that has so much built-in risk into the market. It's incredible. So you look at the Nifty 50, that was a time period where those 50 stocks, once they started to stumble, it was trouble. And then if you look at the present time period, once AI starts to stumble, you get an idea. Well, maybe Meta was the first signal of that because their spend is not justified. And that's why the stock got crippled this week. And that could happen, that attitude could happen with other companies. The market psychology of the Nifty 50 was basically investors believe these companies were immune to economic cycles. AI today, similar belief. AI leaders will dominate regardless of macro conditions or competition, simply because they're just that good. Think about that. And the post-hype for the Nifty 50, that reality, they underperformed the broader market for over a decade. That's after the 1973-74 bear market. So I was looking at the market 1973-74. I started to trade early 74, so I was trading in the beginning of that bear market. And then over the next decade, I traded the bull market that followed that. I traded the bear market in 1977, the crash of 1978, the crash of 1979, the bear that went into 1982. I traded and witnessed all of that. And that was a secular bear market period as the craziness of the Nifty 50 was being corrected. It took a decade to do that, and we didn't really start a bull market until 1982. That's what a secular bear market looks like. AI today, the risk of similar underperformance if AI monetization lags, or regulation accelerates, or the commoditization that I really believe is going to be coming. And investors really start to get a sense that the spend that they're putting into this, based on the time it's going to take to get returns, could be a long, long period of time. And we can actually see selling coming into the market after some very big upside moves in a lot of the stocks, because I think investors are waiting for the opportunities to start to sell and are starting to sneak out of those. So what does that mean for the comparison for today? Well, the first thing to look at is on the bottom here where it says disclaimer. This is information only. I'm not making a prediction. All I just shared with you is comparisons between the 1972 period and the Nifty 50 and the AI craze that's going on right now. The top chart right over there that you see is the 1972 peak. And this is the pattern in there that took you from the end of 71 through the end of 72 and the peak. This rally over here was about 10 or 11 weeks off of this low. Look at this pattern over here. This is 20, the beginning of 2025, end of 24, right through the beginning of this year. You could see that, well, there's an odd similarity to this. And then this rally right there in 1972, well, there's the rally right over there. You can see that once our indicator turned negative there, the bear market started. Over here, you could see, well, it's still positive. And this is running already about 6 or 7 weeks past the length of this peak right over here. What does this mean? Well, I could probably go back and find you other scenarios where the stock market lined up almost perfectly, and then what was looking like would follow didn't happen. So that doesn't mean this is going to happen. But when you look at all of the other comparisons that I just gave you, you've got to wonder what's going to happen after this AI craze. And I promise you that these stocks that are the top 10 stocks in the market, at some point when this peak comes, they're going to lose 20, 30, 40, 50% of their values. And you can see what they would affect, how they would affect all of the connected ETFs and the indexes that are the widely viewed indexes. So I wanted to show you this. I'm not making a prediction right now, but there's a good reason to believe that there's information here that you could use, especially as an investor. For short-term traders, maybe there's not a lot of value, but for investors, people that are looking at a longer term, I hope you're illuminated, and I hope that your radar is on, because there's something to watch for. That is my look at the comparison 1972 to 2025.